And I can't stop thinking about you, but what you gonna do? And you know I'm feeling good like that, so what you gonna do? And I can't stop thinking about you, but what you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? I just wanna be alone. I don't need your company, stop blowing up my phone. You don't get the things that I've been through, and I don't have the time to lay it all in front of you. And you think that you wanna save me. You don't know it, baby, why you do this? I got this under control. You think you do, but you really don't know that I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. I'll save myself. No, I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. I'll save myself. I'll save Baby, I just wanna be alone. I don't need your company, stop blowing up my phone. You don't get the things that I've been through, and I don't have the time to lay it all in front of you. And you think that you wanna save me. You don't know it, baby, why you do this? I got this under control. You think you do, but you really don't know that I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. I'll save myself. No, I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. I'll save myself. No, I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. I'll save myself. I stand back and I watch you explore. In perfect vision, like I've been here before. Falling faster, I try to ignore. I see you, I see you. I'll let you drag me to hell if you hold my hand.
Play.
Way too many faces in the crowd, but I think that I see you. One too many days got me changing up the way that I need you. Now we're both at a bar, acting like it's not hard, trying to feel something different. Talk to somebody new, kinda wish it was you, kinda numb to the feeling. Now that you're gone, they say time should heal, but it's been too long. Couple months and I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to. I can't seem to. Now that you're gone, I can't seem to. I can't seem to. Laying on my floor, thinking about all the things that we've been through. From 24/7 to pretending like I never met you. No, it's all for the best, cause I know we're a mess every time we're together. Going out of my mind, and I wish I could lie, tell you that it gets better. Now that you're gone, they say time should heal, but it's been too long. Couple months where I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to. I can't seem
Evening gamers, it's that time of the week again. Time to grab yourself a nice Wenzel's meat stick, a nice tall glass of OJ, sit down and watch the next generation of Overwatch collegiate talent take the spotlight. My name is CB and I am joined by the only person I trust to join me for some Overwatch collegiate action, Twin Salty.
Hey, appreciate it. No, it should be a fun night. Obviously, homecoming just officially kicked off yesterday, and chaos. Chaos is the perfect word for it right now in collegiate. So, yeah, we'll see. How everything goes tonight.
Yeah, it should be a fun time. We're gonna kick some things off with some Division 3 action. We got a couple of schools here who are looking to kind of make a name for themselves. They're both kind of on the rise, whether it's newer esports programs or whether it's making the rise up through the divisions. We have UH Horizon, who formerly, like you mentioned earlier, were a Division 4 team. Now making the rounds on up.
Yeah. Yeah, up to Division 3, and even though placements didn't necessarily go their way, they went 0-2 in placements to some pretty hard competition. Obviously, looking on the way up, already got a 3-2 under their belt, so looking to make it 2-0 today.
Yeah, well, on the other side, you also have Purdue Varsity, who are also coming into this 1-0, looking to make it 2-0, and only one of these two teams can come out of on the other side of this being 2-0. The other, unfortunately, is going to have to be a very disappointing and impossible to recover from 1-1.
Yeah, it's the dreadful 1-1 start. But no, I'm excited to see how this one goes tonight. And before we get into the deep specifics here, reminder: Wuyong is disabled tonight. So as much as we want to show off the new character, there's a pretty game-breaking bug going on with his healing that NECC decided we're just not going to deal with that tonight.
Kind of a wise choice, I think.
Yeah.
You were describing the nature of the bug earlier to me. Obviously, I wasn't in the loop because I hadn't played in the past week or so. So I was like, oh, he can just kind of at random accidentally heal at infinite range. That sounds kind of busted and unintentional.
So yeah.
So yeah. But on the other hand, though, I was also kind of talking about the fact that a lot of these teams likely will have been scrimming with Wuyong in the fold. He's kind of unlocked this new crazy meta that Overwatch is in now, where you're getting all kinds of things that were old and we thought were going to be dusted and left on the shelf forever have now come back into the fold. You're seeing a lot of Roadhog for some reason. You're seeing a lot of Zarya, which I think is interesting. Seeing a lot of Diva, and just honestly whatever the front line wants to play.
No, it's been really weird, especially the Roadhog comms somewhat coming back. It's so odd. We're really going back into the dark ages right now with some of these. But obviously, with Wuyong disabled, I think, and it wasn't too long ago that teams were running, non-Wuyong comps. So it's not going to be that difficult to try and pivot from. But we may see, maybe even this first map, kind of feeling out how they get back into these, Lucio Kiri comps. If they want to try more of the Moira. It's going to be a little bit of, touch and go for the beginning, but, as we look at the rosters here, I don't think it's going to impact them too much.
I think it's going to kind of depend on the team, so whether or not it impacts them, though. If I'm being, because you got to kind of think, we're coming out of the summer into the spring season, so some of these teams might also be kind of newly forming or bringing in newer members, so they might not gel on certain comps in certain ways, and they might have this comfort pick where it's okay, as long as we don't get Wuyong banned, we can play the Wuyong comps. Well, now they got to go back to the old-fashioned. They got to go back to the Lucio Kiri, and maybe there's some teams that, like you said, we're already scrimming that not too long ago, so it's like putting on an old pair of pants. It's nice and comfy, and they still fit.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's at least, it's not oh my god, we're stretching from comps years ago where most of these players would have been in high school. No, it's just a few months ago. But like you said, some of these rosters are still kind of forming. We're still very early into this season to where a lot of these freshmen are still getting used to playing at this type of level every single week. And it's going to be up to the veterans to kind of bring them up and make sure everyone is ready to go. But as we get ready, where else are we going to start? It's, of course, Lijiang Tower as our first one. And we're talking about these Zarya comps have really been all over the place. And it looks like we're going to start seeing them right away.
Yeah, and it kind of aside from the Junkrat, which I'm not taking the bait, it's attacker spawns, Bill, you do you, fam. All right, if you want to come out with the rat, I'm not going to stop you. But what's interesting to me is, both teams, Zarya and Reaper, which harkens back to literally, Overwatch 2 on launch.
Yeah. No, it's kind of crazy. Reaper, all of a sudden, is back in meta. And it's not a sentence I thought I was going to say in 2025. But honestly, it's been super fun to see him back. And as we already get in, yeah, pretty much a mirror across the way, except UH Horizon. A lot more poke due to this Junkrat getting pulled out.
Yeah, you can already feel Tuttle like getting, feeling like it's a little bit too hot in there, having to back on out, takes a little bit too much damage from the spam, the Junkrat there. Good shadow step coming out from Alfred, but gonna get taken down there by Alistar, and UH Horizon already down a man, gonna have a tough time trying to recapture this one, especially if they lose their Zarya, the Hellfire shotguns. Gonna rain out the damage, and a little bit of follow-up damage will be enough to find the KO, and that's gonna be the first cap.
Yeah, even though we were saying, yes, of course, a lot of that poke comp from Bill, especially with the Junkrat, you can just lob nades at range, break the bubbles really fast from ABC. But the advantage Purdue has is that they have the Sojourn, which is a lot more precise at range, and the Disruptor shot, including the new Miner perk, it can slow down enemies, and that's just giving Purdue a little bit more of the advantage during these early fights to allow Tuttle to go in and finish.
They are going to concede the high ground advantage, give up White Room to UH Horizon. That's where the Junkrat can be real deadly, and with one swift concussion, Mind Tuttle has been dealt with. Bill looking to try and get another for his money, but so much damage coming out from the Zarya on the other side, and with Alistar again finding another shot on that Kiriko. Looks like UH Horizon, they had the advantage that they needed, but it might have just gone by the wayside. Now with the Graviton Surge up, 50 HP, might not want to let that one rip just yet, but it is on deck if needed, and as Tuttle comes back into the fray and finds two, UH Horizon once again repelled. They did manage to sneak off 12% though.
Yeah, UH Horizon, they sneak in of just a small little 12%, but you never know. We could be saying in a few minutes that it mattered a ton, but now the ultimates really start getting into be a factor. And look at the Zarya difference. Only 50% for Stell Bell, already a grab online for ABC as the Tire looking servers for something.
Going far around, Graviton Surge is going to come out. Oh, right, well, the Tire found something. It was a rail shot coming out from the other side, and make that two more shots now coming out. What a play coming out from the back of the Kitsune Rush as well. All the damage coming through, and now against the Junkrat in tight quarters, not the best place to be, but when you hit the shots like that, who cares?
Yeah, why not? Nice little 3K for CVG, pairing the Disruptor shot with the grab. As much as Tuttle wanted to get in there and really mess it up, they get finished off early, and already CVG an early pick off onto Alfredog.
Yeah, you're seeing so much pick potential coming out from the Sojourn of all things. Bill gonna find another concussion mind kill though, so it's gonna be a good place for UH Horizon to start. They gotta make something off the back of the sound barrier from Coolant though. Tuttle again nestled firmly in the point like a tick, and UH Horizon can't seem to get him out. Coolant is going to fall. Death Blossom is online for Tuttle and might be looking for the opportunity to use it, but honestly, might not even need it. Can't take it with you though, so could potentially let it rip, but yeah, again, just no need, as all around is just death and desolation. There we go. There's a Death Blossom from Alfred, but, you know, might as well have been a fart in the wind for all it was worth.
Yeah, you could tell everyone's like, are you gonna all, like, are you wanna? All right, bye. What a start for Purdue here, as we didn't really get into the bans as we got into this one. The Wrecking Ball ban is very much a target on Estelle Bell. She's done very well for herself in calling our heroes rising on that hero specifically. So it's understandable from Purdue why they wanted to ban that out. Tracer ban honestly hasn't shown too much of an impact when you can just run the Reaper nowadays. But now is when we get into a little bit more of the divey maps here on Lijiang Tower. For now, nobody's really changing that much except Alfredor. Now, well, potentially, we'll see if they actually go with the fray here after the Sim TP, or if they, oh yeah, they will stick it. So trying to match that more precise range that CVG really took advantage of last round.
I don't hate it, but you're still kind of relying on Bill being first to point, so you can actually get some of those spam, some of that spam damage down the choke point there. You can also use the take aim shots. Freya maybe not as lethal as she once was, but still can be at range if those take aim shots do land. Right now, Purdue Varsity are respecting it though, but as they take Bill's head clean off, another rail shot from CVG, putting on a clinic on this Sojourn. It's traded out, Coolant finding Alistar there, but Stelbell on 1 HP means she can't hold on to this position for very long. It does get traded out though, as Alfred is going to be able to find that kill onto ABC. UH Horizon might be able to get this one.
Yeah, Zarya's get traded out, but yeah, like I said, it's Purdue already in the point. Bill does find one, Bill finds two, hello!
Yeah, this one might not be over just yet if Bill has anything to say about it. Coming back, very frustrated about losing his head in the previous fight. Hope gonna take down Alistar, and Bill dealt with, and Astronaut able to hang on with the wall rides there, and Purdue Varsity still clinging on to this point for dear life, but that life very well might be fleeting as the Kiriko heals keeping Stelbell alive. Alfred with a nice headshot there, and another as well into Astronaut, making a nice two-piece there for Alfred, and UH Horizon are on the board.
Yeah, nice little comeback there from UH Horizon. Never really giving up on the fight. Trying to use those early pickoffs, and yes, even though Bill does tie on the second effort, Alfredorg is there to help finish it off. And these boops from the Lucios, that new minor perk, you can ride on the wall to kind of build up an amplification of the boop. We might have to look out for that here. As already Stelbell just gets destroyed.
Yeah, Purdue Varsity just full pedal to the metal, lead foot, just ran her over there, and we're gonna see Astronaut going in for a nice boop, just like you said, trying to find the environmental. It's not gonna come to fruition, but Tuttle indeed will come to fruition. Death Taxes and Tuttle finding a three-piece there. Maybe a four, but CVG is gonna snake that one out, and UH Horizon are gonna have to give up the point. 20% is all they've got to their name so far.
Yeah, so far it's been a big tempo difference. Purdue just love to play very much in your face, go, go, go. They're not allowing the fight to truly develop out like the way Horizon do. They want to try and have somebody low due to their extensive damage and then try and push it from there. But now the rush goes in.
Yeah, that's a great way to set the tempo, but you're not going to have the healing from Hope coming out, and Cooling going to fall as well, so you're not going to get the sound barrier either. This is very much so just a die fast and go next moment for UH Horizon. Bill gonna, get a little trade there, cheeky, but not really worth much in the grand scheme of things. Purdue Varsity, only a sound barrier, and they win that whole fight.
And now Stelbell, she's just going to give up on the Zarya, and I don't blame her. It's not been working this map. Goes over to the Ramacha, which at least you could use the shield to get in the door, but with the new change, it's going to be a little difficult.
Riptire coming out, dropped right on top of Astronaut, delivered Amazon Prime next day air, but crucially, that's the only ultimate that wasn't on the field for Purdue Varsity. Gonna be able to take down the Zarya as well. Tuttle gonna fall. CVG not content to give this one up just yet. We'll find a rail shot there, but have to slide on out to safety. 91% though. Purdue Varsity very much in one fight territory.
Very much, and they have that Kitsune rush. If they want to bring that pace once again, they can just bring the team on in. CVG was absolutely electric with the last overclock. Let's see if they got another one in the back pocket.
Also like the angles that CVG is taking as well, just leaving the team to apply the pressure and being out here in the wings waiting for the opportunity. And opportunities don't always present themselves, but CVG, like a truffle pig, can sniff them out. And with the overclock now coming in, looking for the next target, and it's going to be Bill. Can't quite get the kill with the spam damage there. Astronaut with a nice little two-piece there. Tuttle just doing a little ballet dance just for show, but gonna be enough to get Purdue Varsity the fight win. Potentially the map win is, with Alfred falling there's not gonna be a touch. That's gonna be Purdue Varsity handily taking Lijiang Tower 2-0.
Yeah, that was all Purdue to start off here on Lijiang Tower. What a performance, especially from CVG. Every single fight, I swear they were getting at least one or two picks. And it feels fitting that the play of the game does also go their ways. This was that nice with the grab, pairing the disruptor shot, finishing off the Zarya, and then playing a little bit of a game with the Junkrat, but eventually lines up the shot. But yeah, that was great, just from Purdue overall, bringing a very quick tempo, easily finding out and calling off their targets. The poor supports for Houston were just getting targeted every fight, and it just felt like as soon as one of the supports were dead, the fight was over.
It's kind of a, you're playing the Junkrat here if you're UH Horizon, which kind of means that you want to try and play front to back so you have some shielding for the Junkrat and you also have an angle to lob that spam down.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes you susceptible to those like off angles that CVG is taking. And as long as he can rely on his team to create the pressure and divert attention away from wherever he's sitting, it's just a shooting gallery. It's open season on the back line, and Homie hunted them pretty much to extinction.
Yeah, no, it was the CVG show. Like, it really was. As much as Reaper's been in the meta and Zarya's been back in, Sojourn's still pretty damn good. Like, let's make sure that's pretty straight. Like,
I don't know if there's
Sojourn
ever been a time where
good.
Sojourn hasn't been good. Let's
That's
be real
very
here.
True.
She's kind of always been one of the strongest DPS in the game, especially for the hit scan roll. But if you can aim and click with those rail shots, you can win a game.
Even now, it's so easy to build charge with the power slide perk. Like, oh, you slide? All right, I'm already up to 50 charge. It's like, it's just even easier to get those railgun shots off. But now the power goes back into Houston's hands. And, well, A, they can run the Wrecking Ball as much as they want. But the one ban is gone, which I would say map 2 is going to be more of a tell for me on where this series is going, because this will now be Houston's comfort zone. They're going to want to run the dive in these kind of chaos comps, and I'm more curious how Purdue want to answer that now that the ban is gone.
Yeah, Purdue at least initially do look very comfortable in these kind of like, these brawl comps, at least with the Zarya, because, we did see a little bit of a Zarya differential happening there, and a teeny little bit. And I don't want to put it all on the Zarya because it is kind of a team thing. Like I'm saying, we're seeing the CVG show, but a lot of these angles are being set up, and that is on the entire team. They understand how to play these compositions. We were talking about how some teams just know how to play the Lucio Kiriko. Purdue are very much so one of those teams. So yeah. I think that might be something that you could maybe target in the ban phase for UH Horizon, but I also agree, what kind of map do you want to take us to where that's going to be something that you can play? I'm thinking maybe like a Suravasa, but that's also not bad for a brawl comp either.
Yeah, depending on how bans play out, the Zarya could easily be pretty good still on Suravasa. I'm thinking maybe like a watch point. If you want to go like full chaos dive, obviously the Zarya can struggle in first and second phases of that map. But I think it's pretty wide open. So even like in Esperanza, like for any of the push maps, that's the one that Wrecking Ball, there's so many just lanes the ball can run around. It's basically like a pseudo racetrack during the middle of that map. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what they're kind of cooking up over there for Houston. But yeah, especially you were talking about it, it just felt like the Stel Bell Zarya. It just didn't get the same energy that it was wanting to, because their bubbles would get poked out so early. They couldn't really go in, and that just allowed everything kind of to unfold, and you couldn't give the Junkrat the space to really get that damage in.
Yeah, we've seen her around the scene. We know she's go to take nothing away from her, but, sometimes you're just not practiced on a certain hero, a certain comp, and sometimes you get target ban frame 1, but like you said before, you can't ban that twice, so it's always going to be a factor, and maps like Watchpoint Gibraltar are going to play very well into it. And if you're playing a lot of like the Wrecking Ball, you can maybe still get the better of those kind of neutral situations like I suggested the Suravasa. One thing I also kind of want to call out is the Tracer ban from the side of UH Horizon, because that's a way that if you know what you're doing, you can kind of just insta-win Watchpoint Gibraltar. It's like the Ancient Scrolls. If you just ban Tracer, no one, if you ban Tracer, no one knows how to play Watchpoint Gibraltar anymore. Just everybody's mind just breaks, because who pushes card?
Yeah. Is there the wind?
Yeah, just blow real hard and hope it does it itself.
It's like we can't just summon Bob and let Bob kind of escort us over there. Like, what's going on?
Only for a very short period of time, but
yeah, it's gonna be a lot of quick Bobs if you're trying to get the card all the way over there. But
everybody stand still. This card hasn't moved. I need to hit a big dynamite so Bob can get out and push.
Come on.
It's like pushing with a parking brake on the whole time.
Oh God. But sometimes we've seen it be the Genji that kind of gets floated in. But yeah, it is kind of weird when you have Tracer banned on Watch Point. It's like, okay, who's gonna touch car? Who wants to rep like all the way around server to go high ground? Because it takes so long to get over there. So we'll see. I doubt Purdue's going to ban it unless they really just want to keep forcing this, Sojourn Reaper, kind of this hit scan Reaper lineup. Because then maybe they just want to keep it that way. Be like, even though we love the Tracer, it worked out really well without it for now. So they could just kind of lean back on that. But yeah, teams are taking their sweet time. I'll say that, trying to figure out what they want to do.
I feel like you and I are kind of locked in on Watchpoint Gibraltar kind of feels like a no-brainer, and we can even break down more reasons why. Because I was also thinking you mentioned the Reaper Sojourn. I was like, okay, well wait a minute. UH Horizon didn't look too bad when you had Alfred coming out on the Freya, and Freya's also pretty good on Gibraltar. So there's layers to this.
True.
There's a lot of reasons why that might be a good pick, but they're still thinking about it. They might have more plans. They might know something that we don't.
Or even the Widowmaker, if you want to throw a Widow in to Watchpoint Gibraltar, obviously you need a lot of trust in your hit scan, and you need a lot of trust in either your tank or your other DPS to be able to peel pretty quickly. But maybe that's something that opens up a watch point. I'm trying to think of other maps. You would think not Kings Row. As much as we all love Kings Row, and it's Scrims Row and Collegiate, if you want to avoid a Zarya mirror again, I have a feeling that's not the play.
Yeah, so maybe that's the dilemma. Like they're falling into the trap. They're trying to fight against their primal instincts to go to King's Row, and there's just like one person on the team who's like loudly being like, "Guys, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
What are we doing? We cannot go to the Zarya map." Okay, we have got both a sub coming in. We've got Kegman coming in for Bill, so likely not going to see any more Junkrat, which we didn't really talk a whole lot about ways to enable the Junkrat because there's not very many of them. So
No.
glad we can move on, and we're going to be going to Esperanza for our second map. So push action, another pretty decent option that we floated around early on.
Yeah, it's another decent ball map, especially in regards for the push maps. It's probably the best for dive. You know, sometimes Runasop you can kind of feel like that, but yeah, like you're not running dive on Caliseo. Like Caliseo is very just much long range DPS are going to shoot at each other. Eventually, someone's going to get a kill. Considering how tonight's been going so far, CVG is going to get a kill and Purdue's going to win the fight. So just let, you know, Stelball run around on ball, take advantage of the bridges, and try and create as much chaos for the rest of the team to capitalize on.
I've historically kind of argued that, you know, there's parts of Caliseo that you can play dive on, but specifically those parts don't unlock until both checkpoints are online.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for a lot of these teams, they're definitely going to be thinking about that long middle stretch and being the first one to get the checkpoint and trying to play for poke. So, yeah, Esperanza, if you do want to try and just go ball where you can play ball the entirety of the map, yeah, it makes sense, but the bans are still going to be kind of like the story that we tell. You know, if you're Purdue, what do you ban out? Because you've already banned out the Wrecking Ball. If you're UH Horizon, at what point do you have to reach for like a Sombra ban, you know, or
True.
something like,
Yeah.
or like a, you know, something, because like now you know the ball is going to be coming into play. You also have to consider the ball counters that will be coming into play.
So yeah, whether it be a Sombra or if you want to get rid of even like a Cassidy, even though Cassidy on this map can get a little tricky because you don't necessarily have the range, even though as much as you would love to have that stun all the time to stop the ball momentum, it's probably not the exact map that you're going to want it, unless you really want to play close with your supports instead of playing closer up with your tank. But yeah, we'll have to see what they want to do here.
You just
for the
can't really
bans.
like, you can't really like reposition too well on a cast, and it's like
No.
Esperanza is one of those maps where like you got to be mobile, you got to be able to
yeah.
get to where you want to go quickly. You can't just like, you can kind of just brawl it out on like a new Queen Street, you know, just take your angles. But Esperanza, if you need to be up on the high ground and you can't get there yesterday, then it's just not a good pick. It's another good opportunity for the Sojourn to come out again, though. So
Yeah.
CVG is very much so going to be someone to keep an eye on, as though we haven't already had our eye very firmly on him throughout the entirety of Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, unless they want to pull the Soj ban from Houston, which it's obviously a risk. Because then, hey, Sombra is right there. Silver
Yeah.
platter for Purdue to try and make it happen. But I'd understand it to a degree like, hey, CVG wrecked us over on Lijiang Tower. This is a very good Sojourn map. We maybe want to take that away. It's a catch-22. I think regardless, there's some sort of value here for Houston. But there's also some worries that you're going to have to inherently have when you start the map of how you're going to deal, especially with CVG in particular. And we don't know what Kegman, you know, has in their hero pool. So, assumingly not Junkrat. That's about the only thing we know for now is assumingly no Junk.
Or maybe, I mean, collegiate scene can get a little bit chaotic sometimes. Maybe you do
True.
actually have 2 Junkrat OTPs on your team fighting for playtime, you know? That's not a good situation to put yourself in, but it's not an impossible
It's a situation.
one. It sure is a situation, yeah.
It's collegiate, especially, you know, we're here in Div 3, so it's still up there, but obviously we could have some very big rosters in Division 3, right? You're not just going to have your starting 5 like you do for a lot of the top teams. You're going to have rosters of 6, 7, 8, even 9 players to where you can flex around a lot of the time. So, no, we'll have to see here. It is... Okay, so what's the Cassidy ban coming out from Horizon? So one of the, you know, potentials... Kiriko is banned from Purdue. So are they...
Interesting.
I'm actually very curious what they want to run here, because that would normally be, again, another Lucio Kiri, and of course, right before we could see a pause is requested from Purdue.
Yeah. It's collegiate, baby. I want to go back to a point you were talking about earlier about how like some of these teams are going to have real big rosters and like kind of flex around a lot. I am here to tell you from experience that is a necessity, all right?
Yes.
Anybody who's watching thinking like, what do you need like a 12-man roster in collegiate for? Let me tell you a story, all right? One time, one of my like I was playing with a support duo back in the OW1 days. My other support fell asleep on the train home
Oh my
and just
God.
woke up in Rhode Island. And we're like, we have an official. Where are you? And he's like, I'm in Rhode Island. And we're like, we live in Pennsylvania. And I'm like, how did you get there? He's like, I fell asleep on the train. It's like, oh, cool.
I guess we need the
here
sub. Oh
Hey man,
my
how quickly
God.
can you get here? Peanut's in another state right now.
Oh my God. As someone who was a super sub a few times in college, I know the pain. Like, we've all been there when you have these giant rosters. It's much needed. Purdue, they're going to run the hazard. So try to match the dive with a little bit more dive, but definitely a little more targeted, a little bit easier to try and organize that as well with Tuttle and already pile drive in, but nothing really forced early.
Well, we are gonna
And
lose
CVG.
coolants there. Yeah, CVG just goes in. Doesn't need the Cassidy to be a menace apparently. Interesting playing the Wrecking Ball into the Bap Weaver composition. It's gonna be honestly kind of hard to capitalize on some of these slams because if Purdue Varsity are practiced on this comp, they can kind of just go with the ebbs and flows of you know, whatever Stel Bell wants to put out. And you can see Purdue, they've already got control of the bot. They're already getting that barricade moving forward.
Yeah, already moving on forward and already a swap here for Horizon. They'll go over to the Ana instead, trying to keep that long-range healing available for Stel Bell, but yeah, this is going to get a little tricky because, like I said, whenever these pile drives go in, just like that, all right, yoink, you can come over here, you're healed up, and now the entire play for Stel Bell kind of goes for none.
Yeah, and like now you got to try and stage for a second dive though. We're gonna have to see a huge jagged wall coming out though. See Coolant not able to get away from the wrath of Tuttle, who's now got full unfettered access to the back line along with CVG, both just wreaking havoc. And again, I mean, UH Horizon can't really seem to keep their feet underneath them.
Yeah, it is the Purdue show, and the Boilermakers continuing just to truck on right now is already CVG. They have the pulse, just waiting for it, trying to see who the next victim is. But for now, they see a flying ball.
You know, when hamsters fly, it's
Yeah.
okay. Couple of take aim shots is gonna pressure CVG back, but into another hidey hole he goes, still lurking with that pulse bomb, might be looking for the opportunity to use it, and at the same time is also being a menace, preventing UH Horizon from willingly stepping themselves onto the bot to try and get any contention. So the bot's still already pushed halfway past the checkpoint. A little bit of stray damage there, and a stick. What a play coming out from CVG. That's disgusting. Might be able to get the one clip on the Lucio. A little reload, gonna put a stop to that, but after the reload, he is hot to go and is gonna find a third in that fight. Purdue Varsity have yet to be even slowed down.
That was filthy. Like, the finish on the Freya, just to turn around and be like, hello, Hope, bye-bye. Beautiful play from CVG, and already 115 meters to nothing. Purdue running away with Esperanza. CVG, again, just another two-piece. Just casually, make it 3.
Yeah, I mean, if there was anyone left alive, it could have been a 4, potentially a 5-piece. We got a couple more coming out of spawn, very
Just sitting
hesitantly.
in spawn.
Yeah, like dipping their toes into a pool full of piranhas. We're gonna see the minefield coming out from Stelbell on the other side, but again, once those supports come out of spawn, CVG has them in his sights. Nearly finds the one clip there onto Coolant. Coolant gonna be able to get back.
That's
But then
rude.
even your spawn is in a safe place. The pulse bomb lobbed in there. Eggman with a big kill onto Astronaut. That might be enough for UH Horizon to get something, but as the downpour comes in, and Toto with the Death Blossom kills 2, that's it. Purdue Varsity making a speed run on Esperanza.
So you know when we said, you know, Esperanza could be different, right? You know, balls
wasn't
back in
different.
play for Houston. Well, it was a little different, but just, wow. That was just an absolute clinic from Purdue Varsity. And who else again? It's CVG. And it just feels like Purdue can do no wrong at the moment. Nothing can go wrong at all if you're the Boilermakers, and Horizon are just left scratching their heads.
They're scratching their heads right now, and they're saying, how do we get this guy back on Sojourn, please?
Can we
'Cause
just
this
ban
train-
a whole player?
Well, I mean, we can, but I mean, homie's gonna have to be saying some naughty words in match chat. I think that's the only way at this point. So, like, how do we rage bait him into saying things he regrets? Have him call one of us a stinker so we can get him banned.
But at this point, like, what do you do? Like, All right, you banned the Tracer map 1. Obviously, looking back, some great scouting. It just didn't work out at Lee Shark Tower. You go to map 2, it's like, all right, we banned out the cache. Should allow Stale Bell. She can kind of have a little bit more freedom with the Wrecking Ball. There was never any follow-up because everyone was dead by the time Stale Bell was trying to set up these plays. Just wow. That's the only word I have for you because that was unbelievable from Purdue.
And you can't even really call it like a hero performance because it wasn't like Purdue were ever in any danger. Like CVG just kind of had like free reign to do whatever he wanted. And the rest of Purdue, like their whole job was just to weather the storm. Like I said, you know, Stelbel can go in with the slams all she wants, but Life Grip or Lamp, and they just kind of like roll with the punches, be like water, you know? We just ebbs and flows, and then we just let CVG do his thing. You know, maybe Tuttle gets in there with a big Death Blossom or two, and he did. And you know, we just roll right on through in record time.
Yeah, that Downpour Blossom combo at the end, just nasty. It's like, oh, Downpour as an ult, like, isn't the most glamorous, right? Like, it can be a little tricky to hit. It's really hard to get value. But that time, when you try to mess with the Wrecking Ball that's flying all over the place, that feels pretty good, I imagine, if you're Purdue.
Well, if you're Purdue, you're definitely feeling good for a variety of reasons. If you're UH Horizon, it's going to be another trip to the drawing board and potentially the last one in the series, as it will be their map pick. But we're going to have to cut to a real quick break, give them an extra long amount of time to try and get something, because they're going to have to dig deep for this one. So don't go anywhere, chat. We will be right back.